Thank you for joining us, Sam, Melinda, Akinlami. On today's edition of Arthouse, we look at two major events that shaped the art calendar this year. Events that attracted a large crowd of art lovers into the commercial city, Lagos. I'll tell you more about it in a moment. Do stay with us.
To poison a nation, poison its stories. A demoralized nation tells demoralized stories to itself. The sun will shine on those who stand before it shines on those who kneel under them.
The 10th edition of the Lagos Photo Festival looks at passports and the importance of this official document, which most people own, as artists explore this concept in their works of art.
It's a travel document that identifies an individual and with proper authorization allows people to move from one country to another. That's what artists are exploring in this edition of the Lagos Photo Festival.
The theme for the festival this year is passports, and we're interested in the way geography influences inequality and perpetuates inequality. So we want to explore that and from a visual perspective. So where you're born, the passport you carry, your area code, if you live in a certain part of a community, or if you live in another part of the community, the passport was a document that was created to allow you to go and come back. It wasn't meant to restrict you, to keep you within the restrictions. This year, Lagos Photo will celebrate its 10th edition. It's not quite the 10th anniversary, but it's the 10th edition. And it's important for us to be able to reflect and look back on what we've achieved over the last 10 years, and also sort of reflect on what we've achieved through photography in changing the cultural or improving or contributing to the cultural landscape in the country. So we can be very proud of our achievement. We can also be very, very proud of the photographers and artists that we've worked with over the years. And actually, I think personally, it's very humbling to be able to say you've done something with regularity, with consistency, with a dedicated team that we have. We've kept more or less the team almost intact that started. So it's really quite special, and I'm very proud of what we've achieved with Lagos Photo.
The picture I took actually on the audition there is, I fell in love with the reflection from the mirror of the car and the building. It was something I so much love. I want anybody that see the picture to look, wow. Whenever they turn it upside down, they look the picture of the house. They turn it the same way, they still see the picture of the house. It's wonderful to me and I love it.
The idea is to unite global photographers by picking a topic every year, which they try to do justice to by clicking on issues that address the subject.
Through photography, we want to explore all of the multiplicity of ways that inequality is perpetuated through geography. And that's just the basic premise of the theme Passport this year. We have over 40 photographers from over 30 different countries participating in the festival this year. So really what we're trying to do is all is about nurturing talent, all is about partnership, because we want to make Lagos a destination. We want to make Lagos an important city that can host culture and not just isolate culture, but host culture, and not just our culture, but culture from eastern part of the country, from the northern part of the country, from West Africa, from South Africa, from, it's about hosting, and that's what we're trying to do. The photographers have really understood the power of visual language, and you'll see that today.
while sharing their different cultural experiences.
The first picture I took was my best picture because I could actually see it being featured. It was this Mapo Hall. It's actually an ancient building, not too old, in the 90s. That was 1926. And there was this old telephone that they used back then in the 90s, and it was hung on the wall. I was like, wonderful. This actually depicts the olden days, what we used back then, not our mobile phones or our smartphones. We're just using this old telephone. So I was like, okay, let me capture this story with the hall. So I was able to position it and the hall, and it blended very well. You could actually see the background. It was black and white, telling you it was not shot now, like it was a thing of the past, like it had to bring you like a flashback of what happened back then.
It's an artwork that is already in me. I have a lot in my head so when I get to the venue, I'm not the kind of person that just rush into shooting shots. I get into the venue. Initially, I shot the one that was reflecting on the water. So I thought it was not okay. Then on my way going back to look for another wide angle, I found a car being parked in front of that building. Then I looked directly from the car bonnet, and I was seeing the building with a very little reflection on it. Then I took advantage of that reflection, and I did a post-work about it, and it was wonderful.
It's a panoramic shot, and it's about the Ojaba market here in Ibadan, in front of Mapo Hall, although I stood in Mapo Hall to get the wide angle shot. And so what inspired the shot is the market people, and I just thought of how the view would be from a very high place, which is Mapo Hall, the staircase in Mapo Hall. So I put my thoughts to practice, and it worked for me.
This month-long event usually has art exhibitions, discussions, presentations on the lineup.
The way forward with Lagos Photo, well, we want to keep doing more. We want to expand. We want to invite more workshops. We do workshops, we do talks, seminars, outdoor exhibitions. We want to do more of this all over the country, not just in Lagos, but we want to try and reach other regions of the country through travel exhibitions that we curate. The idea is to really champion mobile phone usage. So we had a camp where Lagos Photo curators and photographers stayed with the shortlisted photographers for about a week, worked with them in sort of honing their skills as photographers. So they all sort of worked with the photographers, shook them up, improved their skills, improved the way of looking, the way of seeing, the way of documenting, and also the general idea of photography beyond just snapping or making a picture.
The Lagos Photo Festival is one of the first international photography exhibitions in the country, which began in 2010.
Interesting idea there. Now let's take a moment on the program and look at the works of art you sent in on our various social media platforms. And these are the works of art that made the cut for this week. Let's begin with this work done with aluminium foil by Kayode. He calls it Waiting. Then Christian is finding solace with this charcoal and pastel on paper work. To Julius, who has this oil on canvas work he calls Counter. Affection is Akimumi's acrylic on canvas work of art. Sunset, done by Joel, is an oil on canvas work. Bolaji is telling everyone to stay strong always with this pencil on paper work. Then finally we have Innocent, a work of art done with charcoal on canvas by James. And those are the works of art you sent in this week. We do encourage you to keep them coming, and don't forget, put the relevant information beside that image.